Right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Boiler Room. We're broadcasting live here at alternatecurrentradio.com, Spreaker.com. We're on YouTube. What's going on YouTube? Good to see everybody out there in the YouTubes, and we're on Rockfin. Also, that's right, we're going wide for this first part of today's Boiler Room. This is the August the 4th 2022 Boiler Room. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Staying cool in this hot summer weather here. The climate crisis. Oh my God. Climate crisis. Lock us down, please. Make us feel so much better if you'd lock us down. Uh, Fortune 100 and Joe and everybody, please lock us down for our own climate safety. We want to be good global citizens, right? So I got to make sure and lock us down. Just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be stupid. All right, this is the Boiler Room, and I am your host. My call sign is Hesher. I want to thank you for joining us for this live broadcast here today via Alternate Current Radio. Wonderful to be with everybody. And let's see here what has been going on. First off, we're sorry we missed the broadcast last week. It just didn't work out. We had one family obligation turn into another family obligation, and things exploded from there. So yeah, sorry we missed everybody last week for the scheduled Boiler Room, and we're here to make up for it tonight with some boiler action for you. We've been very busy. Thank you, Conrad. We got a tip over there on the Rockfin. Thank you, Conrad. That's awesome. All right. Yeah, so we've been very busy over here. Obviously, if you've been following all things ACR, you've noticed the big team up that we've been doing with today's News Talk Radio. We've been over there doing a bunch of work with them, and it has been wonderful. We've got a great collaboration going with TNT. Don't worry, ACR isn't going anywhere, nothing like that. We're looking to grow together, and we're having a lot of fun with it. So I've had Wandering Wolf over there. Ruckus has been over there. Odd Man Out's been over there doing a lot of cross pollinating on the Ghostbuster streams here. So you know how that goes. And let's see what else. What else can I tell you? Oh yes, happy anniversary! Happy anniversary, everybody! Alternate Current Radio turned 8 years old yesterday. So wow, that's amazing to me. It's very amazing that here we are 8 years later, doing Boiler Rooms. I think this is probably the I'm having to go from memory here, but I think it's the 472nd edition of Boiler Room here tonight, basically celebrating 8 years of alternate current radio. So, big shout outs to everybody that has been with us since the beginning or even before the beginning. And of course, everyone that joined the Social Reject Club along the way. All right. Let's see who we got with us tonight here in the Boiler Room. There it is. There's your Boiler Room tonight. Let me introduce Ruckus, the man behind the Daily Ruckus. There it is. Boom, explosion. There's a Ruckus among us. What's up, Ruckus? Welcome to the show.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. How's everybody doing? Man, it feels good to be back in my alma mater over here in the Boiler Room on ACR because like you mentioned, some of us, yourself and myself included, have been there on a fairly regular basis. So it feels good to be back over here on the ACR side doing the Boiler Room thing. I'm excited. Let's do this.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, very excited. Very excited. Good to be here in the Boiler Room. That's Ruckus of the Daily Ruckus, everybody. And by the way, Ruckus is co-hosting the third hour of Joseph Arthur's Technicolor Dream Monday through Friday over there at TNT. So be sure and get on out there and support that show. Make sure to let them know that you heard about it on the Boiler Room and that you're there to party. Speaking of being there to party, we got Wandering Wolf joining us also. Mr. Corey Drayton, welcome back to the Boiler Room. How are you tonight?
Hey, Asher, it's so good to be back. What a day, right? I mean, starting off the day with a bit of TNT, which was an excellent way to kick off Thursday. And then I went through today kind of an autopilot, but I couldn't wait to get back to the real thing that is exciting me today, and that's being back here in the Boiler Room. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right. We're very happy to have you, and thank you for joining me today on the Brian McLean Show. Everybody, if you're not caught up on your Boiler Rooms and you haven't heard yet, I have a new show over at TNT. It's called the Brian McLean Show. It's Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Do your own math for your own time zone and check it out. Join us over there Monday through Friday. Wandering Wolf was there with me today, and we were talking about navigating modern media and the praxeologies and the taxonomies that one needs to have in hand to do so, to defend oneself against predatory mass media cartels, right? All right. Chopper is next. Chopper, what is up? The Boiler Room's resident basher, smasher, smelter maker, and apocalypse vehicle maker. What's going on, Chopper?
Nothing, man. Just happy to be here and happy birthday to Alternate Current Radio.
Yeah, woohoo! Happy birthday. 8 years of ACR, man. Looking forward to the next 8.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's been a long journey.
It has. It has. It's been a long uphill and twisty, turny journey, but I'm happy to be here with all you guys to celebrate that. All right, that's Chopper, everybody. Let's say hello to the one, the only, the Boiler Room's very own scientist, Infidel Pharaoh. What's going on, man? Welcome back to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm very happy to be here. I missed all you guys last week, and I missed the audience last week, and I'm very pleased to be doing some Boiler Room with you tonight, man.
I'm glad to be here, and it's a beautiful day. It's our first day of the new national emergency, so I'm going to celebrate that with you guys tonight.
All right, excellent. Yes, I have a N95 on my butt, so we'll be safe. Nothing will happen here. We're all going to be okay. All right. Let's see here. Let's say hi to, I think it's time. I think we've said hi to everybody except for one, the one and only, the very lovely, the curator of all things whiskey, Tango Foxtrot on the interwebs. Lovely Spore, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
All right. There it is. Yeah, well, we're happy to have you here. You're looking great tonight. Love the background.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Spore, what do you think? Shall we break ice?
Yeah, let's do it. This is one that was sent to me by Ruckus just before the show started. The title is "I almost died during orgasm when sex position popped my aorta."
Okay. What?
Okay, so I'm just going to read a little bit of this. And frankly, I didn't even finish the article because it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. But all right, I'm going to read a little bit. Achieving the big O left a Mississippi woman saying, "Uh-oh," as she nearly died while having an orgasm. A new medical study details. The patient was having sexual intercourse with her husband, and during her orgasm, she felt a pop in her chest with radiation to her back. Research recently published in the American Journal Case Report explained she stated that her legs were pressed against her chest during orgasm. Per the medical journal, an unnamed 45-year-old woman from Mississippi was rushed to the emergency room of her local hospital after she was suffering from stabbing chest pains with 10 out of 10 pain levels. She was also afflicted with a sudden case of nausea and shortness of breath. Now, the article goes on to basically say, like, this can happen to men usually, like, in their 60s, but this is pretty rare for a woman of her age to have this happen. Like, there is this thing where people, you know, when they're orgasming, they can, you know, get too excited, I guess, and it can stop their heart. But this is a little odd. She's 45, which isn't super young. It's not super old. And she's probably, I don't know, maybe taking the medical advice of the government recently.
Oh, you're saying like maybe she's more prone to having things like blood clots and such than she might have been 2 years ago?
That's just an opinion.
All right. It's a valid one. I'm sure a lot of our listeners started asking themselves that as soon as you read the headline. Is this just another thing that they're saying, oh, here's something you used to do, the very normal thing you used to do that now might make you die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like normal human behavior is suddenly everybody's at risk, whether you're a child or an adult. Everybody's at risk of a sudden accidental death or whatever they want to call it right now.
Sudden adult death, or yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Ruckus, what do you think about this one, man?
Damned if you do and damned if you don't, I guess, right? But that's quite a way to go for that lady if that was it. But I don't know. Could you imagine being her husband? He's probably like got to feel like he has some sort of bizarre, but like bragging rights. He's like, yeah, I don't want to brag, but I almost killed her. I'm just, I don't know where to go with this one.
I don't know if there's bragging rights there.
I know. I'm just trying. It is an icebreaker, so I'm trying not to be going down the route that Hesher's implying here, because that was what I immediately thought. But I don't know. I guess it's the timing. So I would like to say, okay, let's look at this article as if it was from 2 years ago, and what would we be saying about it? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we should be publishing some sort of guideline that's useful to people. Like, okay, don't do this because it could cause problems. Maybe there's a special. Maybe they found one special sexual position that's like, that's it. You don't ever want to do that. Everything else is on the table except that, because they did say specifically it was the positioning.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I found that interesting.
And what was her positioning? I can't remember. I'll have to look through
like
this.
It was page 69 of the Karma Sutra or whatever. I don't know.
It was like legs against the chest or something like that. Something innocuous and normal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Wandering Wolf, what about you, man? More PR for job issues or what?
I think so. Yeah, I definitely, that was my first thought. PR for job issues. Another way of taking something that's mundane and common. I would imagine a pretty common routine position being related to something like that. My second thought was, what did the French call the orgasm in most of their literary history? Le petit mort, right? Which is the little death. So now we have a situation where we're making the little death into potentially the big death, depending on whether or not you took the advice of certain people who shall remain unnamed. So yeah, this is a weird one, but I'm definitely sensing more of a PR move than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm feeling it too, man. I'm definitely feeling it. This feels like another PR case. New York Post is so good at doing PR cases disguised as news. Infidel, what about you, man? Any medical efficacy to this theory here, or what are we dealing with? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, just reading the article, it say that she smokes 6 to 7 cigarettes a day, and she has history of hypertension. So I mean, it seems that she has already. She's very prone for such a condition. So she was waiting on something to happen. That might be triggering it. But I agree with you guys. It feels it's just clickbaity for me. From the title all the way through the articles is like, really, how many times did that happen? I'm sure a lot. People just getting heart attacks and they're like blood clots and strokes. Especially here in America, right? Heart attack is actually number one killing disease in America because of our bad diet and lifestyle. So I'm not surprised at someone having that. So my advice is stop smoking and start eating healthy.
Yeah, that'll make a big difference. That might make all the difference, everybody.
And then you can have all the sex you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so according to this article, she stated that her legs were pressed against her chest during the orgasm. Okay, not unnormal or anything. She had nausea and shortness of breath, and she was treated with fentanyl and morphine.
What?
Yeah, that's why I saw that, and I'm like, why are you treating someone with a condition like this with fentanyl and morphine? I'm like, will not make any sense. Just load them with fentanyl. That's what she
Yeah,
needs.
that
Oh,
doesn't make
Fentanyl and
any
morphine.
sense.
a killer. I mean, put like a killing solution into the body of somebody that's already experiencing stress in their system. Her heart had a vessel that was popping. All right, so like put fentanyl in there.
Oh, yeah. That's gotta help. That's gotta be great. I mean, fentanyl's a painkiller, isn't it? Isn't that its intended purpose,
I believe
as a
so. Yeah, it's like I don't know. Maybe Infidel knows more about it than me, because he's a scientist. But I think it's supposed to be like a very high intensive painkiller.
right, like, it'd be the next level up from, like, OxyContin or something, right, Infidel?
It is. I'm not very familiar with it, like from chemical standpoint, but I know its side effect. It's strong.
Right.
I was doing a little bit
case
of
of someone that was loaded in fentanyl and they ended up dying.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
made
that'll
national news before.
they'll stop your heart too. Yeah,
I
yeah, go
was
ahead.
doing a little bit of reading about fentanyl lately, and it's a synthetic opiate type painkiller. And yeah, it's like way stronger than anything else. It's like 100 times stronger than whatever they're replacing it with. But I also saw some little things that somebody was saying that it was possibly created as some kind of mass poisoning solution, but I haven't really looked into that, so I don't. All I know is I caught some, and then I was off to something else and didn't finish that rabbit hole at the time. But
Yeah, so many rabbit holes to check out, definitely. And she spent 3 days in the hospital also. I couldn't help but notice it said she spent 3 days in the hospital, so I don't know, the whole story, there's I think, we know what we don't know, and what we don't know is quite a bit in this story. Yet again, we're left to just fill in all the blanks ourselves, and, yeah, we talked about that a little bit today on the TNT show, didn't we, Corey? We were talking about that with regards to the, TEDx experience. That was actually a really good example since you were there, because they left out all this context that would have, that you were able to provide because you were there, but all the other plebes out in the world that read the article, it's like that's all they have to go on.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, the sort of principle of well, I wasn't there, right? So certainly in the case of the couple in question, assuming it even happened, yeah, we weren't in the room, so we have to fill in the blanks with all the extra context. You guys might be onto something though about the possible drugs factor, because I don't know what the exact statistics are, and someone can definitely look this up, but isn't it not the case that the overwhelming majority of American women are on SSRIs, which has been linked to hypertension and high blood pressure issues as well? So the drugs cocktail, the everyday drugs that people are on, could lead to something like this happening too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The everyday cocktail, man, that is so much with so many people out there. It's really scary sometimes when, especially if you're kind of outside of that, like, and I know that's not everybody, but a lot of people are, the type of people that do their best to not have to take pharmaceutical products. And it's, if you're one of those people and then you, I don't know, go visit someone who's just fully invested in big pharma and all that. And it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy how many prescriptions some people live with and live on long term. It's a little bit shocking sometimes. But yeah, that cocktail, that would do it. That could definitely do it.
Yeah, it becomes a lifestyle, taking pharmaceuticals to a certain degree, and it's interesting to sort of watch that become so proliferative in the culture. I mean, this idea that, oh, I've got some issue that some doctor has diagnosed me having, and therefore the only solution is to be on drug X, Y, or Z for the rest of my life, rather than pursuing lifestyle changes, exercise, diets. There's a myriad of other things that should be the go-to, right, before drugs are prescribed, but they just get pushed on people. One of the documentary projects that I was working on until recently, we have a top psychologist. This guy's pretty much considered to be the godfather of trauma science, saying that most of these drugs are prescribed by people who aren't even trained to not only give diagnoses, but to actually know which drugs should be prescribed for a given diagnosis. They're just writing slips and handing people these prescriptions and saying, hey, go get this drug. It'll solve this battery of symptoms that you're dealing with. But there's actually no dialogue going on back and forth between doctor and patient with regards to whether or not drugs should even be considered on the table. So it's pretty outrageous. And, just considering how ubiquitous a solution drugs are in the mainstream.
Yeah, it's just gotten out of hand. It's gotten out of hand. I mean, so plenty of them are things that are, maybe stuff that we arguably need, but like Infidel said, it goes right back to change your diet. First of all, watch what you're putting in. That's seems so fundamental. Drink enough water and watch what you're putting in. Drink less soda, that kind of stuff. I don't know, man. The whole medical thing is just absolutely bananas. Absolutely bananas. And now they're saying we're gonna have to we're gonna do a monkeypox thing, I guess. All the rage this week is the monkeypox. Also, they're really kind of adding fuel to that fire again. Seems like it's been such a waste so far, but hey, we're going to declare little miniature states of emergencies and see what happens there with that.
I think that's like just this whole monkeypox thing, I don't even want to talk about it personally because I think it's such a joke. And what we're actually talking about where people are overdoing their pharmaceuticals and it's actually affecting their, all the way to fentanyl from anywhere from like Zoloft or Prozac or whatever. Like these drugs that these doctors get commission on from prescribing to their patients are actually really screwing up people's brains. And it seems to be like totally fine. It's like if somebody was, got a new job at a whatever place and they showed up to work drunk and stoned, they would get fired. But if they have a prescription for like Adderall and they've been snorting it up their nose, which is something that people do, like that's fine because they got a script for that. But that's basically like the same thing as like, it's a pharmaceutical version of meth, And so like there's this like cloud around the pharmaceuticals where it's like, all right, well, it's the government FDA approved drug of your choice. So that's fine. But it's ruining your brain the same way that a street drug would.
Yeah, or worse in some cases, because people take them. They think they can just take them forever. You know what I mean? It's like someone picks up a street drug habit. They might be on it for a year or 5 years or something like that. But there's something in the psychology about knowing you're on a street drug, where it's like, all right, this may not be sustainable, or, all right, I went off and got a job. I can't do this anymore. Or I got my girl pregnant. I can't do this anymore. But when it's an SSRI or something, a guy in a white coat handed you and said, hey, this will be the fix for your problems. You can take it as long as you need to. It's easier to like just set all that aside, that like, oh, I'm doing something that's maybe not good for me. Like that voice in the back of your head, you kind of set it aside.
Well, because you get a doctor's
doctor.
script. Yeah, exactly. You get the doctor's script.
Yep. So
even the word drugs, like when we hear somebody use the word drug or say drugs, admit it, we all immediately think the street drugs. You know what I mean? We still don't even like, even though we know and everybody knows, we still don't. That's not the first picture in our mind is the Tylenol or the prescription for your diabetes or your anxiety, depression, your kids' ADHD medicine. No, because it's medicine. See? So there's a difference in our mind between medicine and drugs. And drugs are bad, but medicine is good for you, right? And it's not. That's not real medicine. Real medicine is what Wandering Wolf was talking about, like healthy things, helping your body do what it's designed to do, which is to fight these illnesses naturally, but you boost yourself through your healthy lifestyles and your eating habits and vitamins and all of that fun stuff that they don't like to talk about. And they have the stigmatization of drugs and dirty drug users and drug addicts, because some of that stuff is actually therapeutical and in direct competition with their synthetic versions. Like Chopper pointed out that the fentanyl is a synthetic version of an opioid, which can be found in nature. Of course, you could derive the natural version of that if you desperately need it for whatever purposes. But no, this company XYZ, Pfizer probably, will make you a synthetic version and get you nice and addicted to that. It's ridiculous. Everything is so mixed up.
So let's look at some numbers. In 2021, guess how many overdose deaths from fentanyl?
Nationwide?
Yes. Yeah.
150,000.
Now it was 71,23, which in 2020 was 57. Guess what is the second drug after that? Is meth.
Meth.
It's only 32,856. So it's half of the number of overdose deaths from meth. And then cocaine is following at 24,538. So all of them in 2021 is as high as in 2020, and we know why, right? But you can see just from fentanyl alone, it's double the overdose death from actual street drugs. And they still continue prescribing it in this like manner to everybody, and no one cares. And the statistics is glaring, and I think we heard it so many times, but whatever their money, they just keep it going, right?
Yeah.
But to your point, really, just modern medicine in general, it's especially our here in US, it's designed to really treat symptoms, or surgeons, or like doctors right now. No doctor actually, when you go to, that's why, I stopped going to them. Or when I go to them, I already diagnosed myself, and I know what I need. I just need something specific from them or to get some confirmation. But no one of them would look at the root cause, like why do you have the symptoms? There is a reason why your body shows symptoms. And actually sometimes leaving the symptoms is a good indication for you to know what is the root cause that you need to go and fix. But no one thinks this way right now in modern medicine. Honestly, doctors now, especially with this like insurance algorithm that they have for you to get reimbursed and for you to get paid, you have to go through certain algorithms. They don't even think. And then at the end of the day, they want to cover their butts. So they end up overprescribing. And we end up with the situation we're in right now. You have a nation that is addicted to drugs, nation that is unhealthy on so many levels. No one really is taking a step back and thinking, okay, how can I really get my body healthy again, or really find like, oh, I have that symptoms. Maybe my liver is like overloaded with all the toxins that's coming in my body, and that's just a symptom that's being shown, and I need to detoxify, or I need to take a break. So it's, sadly, this is the cycle we've been in, from food industry to drug industry. You are in the middle. You're really that consumer in the middle that they just pump you with food and shitty consumer goods, and then they give you drugs on the other hand to try to fix some of the symptoms they create with all the unhealthy crap they put in your body. And
Right.
it's just gonna keep continuing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the drugs that they give you have side effects that are going to create new issues, and then you're going to need more drugs. And wow, that's just like a waterfall of money, isn't it? That goes to these pharmaceutical companies through the doctors.
Yeah, and then you get compounding symptoms. So once you're on one and you've got the side effects of one, you take another one to fight the side effects of that, but that one comes with its own side effects. Next thing you know, you're just a side effect person. Side effect person. Oh no, what if it's something like nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, upset stomach, dizziness, or rash? Well, guess what? They all have those ones in the list of potential side effects. Those are the common side effects. So, uh, Mm, we can get into the serious side effects of some of them, tearing or swelling of tendons, liver damage, uh, yellowing
Aorta
skin,
popping during sex.
your aorta popping when you're trying to have the big O.
Come on. I mean, really?
Psychotic episodes. Ooh,
Ooh, suicidal thoughts.
Uh-oh.
Mm, we're not making it up, just reading the inserts, folks.
Yeah, and just seeing what's happening on the streets.
Yeah.
or inside your schools. Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to point out too that fentanyl is not just a prescription thing. Like apparently there's a massive black market because they keep busting illegal shipments of 1,000,000 or 100,000 pills or whatever.
Open border, dude. We got a nice little area in the United States where people can just carry that shit up into the United States with no question. And I guess there has been some questions. They busted a few people. I think they found like a couple weeks ago over 200 pounds of fentanyl that was carried across the border, the open border in southern Texas. So, all right, well, and that's being bussed out to if it wasn't caught. I mean, I imagine if that was what was caught, there's got to be a lot more out there that's coming up from the border, and these people are being shipped with whatever they got in their pockets all over the country into the cities, and that's not good.
They're upset in New York and Washington, D.C. about that, I saw.
Yeah, that annoyed the DC mayor, right?
Yeah, she was upset, and I was reading more about it today. I guess there was some lady that works for some kind of Catholic charity organization in New York City, and she was like, "This is New York City. We're not the border. We're not set up for this."
I think Governor Abbott has been promising to send everybody that comes through the Texas southern border to Washington, D.C. So he's like set up buses. I mean, it's like I heard like a news clip. I don't know if it actually is happening, but he was like, "You want to have an open border and you're not going to protect us? Well, we're going to ship all these people that are illegal immigrants to Washington, D.C. to show up in your town." So I'm not surprised she's mad.
how does this look to the rest of the world? I mean, seriously, America, grow the F up. This is ridiculous. We're going to use human beings as a back and forth political tool. Like, we don't want them here, you take them. We don't want them here, you take them. This is just so stupid and childish. Just
Right?
more of this. Man, talk about kicking us while we're down. I screw both sides. F the left, F the right, F the blue, F the red, F them both. This is ridiculous.
The sad thing is even that aspect's not even new as far as just shipping people around on buses. I know the ex-mayor of Las Vegas was making a lot of headlines for shipping busloads of homeless people to Salt Lake City. Like, and then making a big deal out of it, just and kind of like clowning or whatever. And then of course Salt Lake City just sends them back and whatnot. But it's just it's silly.
Well, in that area of Los Angeles too they've been shipping homeless people there for decades now. What's it called, Chopper? You know,
Skid Row.
Oh yeah, like they've been doing that for decades. They have like all right, we're gonna anybody that's like unemployable or can't hold a job or mental disorders or whatever, we're just gonna put it in Skid Row in Los Angeles.
Yep. And people would show up there with no money, no job, no prospects, no nothing. And boom, they're right there. And that's how that whole area got started and to be what it is now. And that was like 100 years ago when it started.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was news to me when I recently when I realized that fentanyl isn't something that just comes from doctors and pharmacists. Like there's street fentanyl. I remember just it was a bit of a light bulb moment for me. It was like, oh, okay, so these cartel people can cook this stuff the same way they cook meth and all this other garbage, and that stuff's super dangerous. Let's see, it's hurt a bunch of officers that just handle it accidentally, find it in someone's bag or pocket and touch too much of it. Kansas officer taken to hospital after fentanyl exposure. Michigan officer details harrowing moment he collapsed from fentanyl exposure. Osawatomie officer receiving medical care after being exposed to fentanyl. Fountain police officer recovering after being exposed to fentanyl. 3 police officers rushed to hospital after suspected fentanyl. St. Paul, California, Hanford. That's just with one quick Google search there. I just typed in police officer hospitalized after fentanyl exposure. That's just the first page of hits right there. So it's like, you just touch this stuff and you could end up hospitalized. It gets in through the skin. It's really it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
I have to say that I was enlightened by your show with the chief of police from Los Angeles on your show on TNT yesterday. Because I thought, after my visit to Los Angeles a couple months ago, I thought that it was the fentanyl that was like making people really, really, really crazy. But from listening to that discussion you had with him, I learned that after they had they had restricted the use of Sudafed, so people have been making meth with Sudafed for like decades, right? And then they figured out, okay, this is a real issue. So they like cut off your ability, if you're like a meth producer, to buy Sudafed in bulk. But they have a replacement for the Sudafed. So it's like a replacement drug or something like that they can still make the meth out of. And this stuff literally like makes people go psycho. Like as soon as they take it, it's not even like something that takes a few weeks to get addicted to. It's something that can like flip people's brains out and they become almost zombified immediately. It's like so much worse than when they had the access to the Sudafed, which is, I don't know, it's creepy, but I definitely experienced people out of their minds in total zombie state of mind when I visited Los Angeles a couple months ago outside of Skid Row.
Yeah, that was so that was Pat Jordan I was speaking with there, Spore, and he's a 38-year veteran, law enforcement veteran, and he's a retired chief of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. He was a really interesting guest, and he was telling me that the way that meth has changed over the years, and like Spore was saying, it used to be made with ephedrine as the precursor, but now they use something called P2P, which is much, much more dangerous. It has way higher threshold for causing mental illness, psychosis, isolation, and delusions. So that's one of the reasons why the meth problem is so bad on Skid Row and in some of these homeless places. It has a little bit to do with the ways in which modern methamphetamine are cooked. So I don't know. I don't know. That's not good. Maybe they should have left the Sudafed in the mix.
So I'm
Not
reading an
really sure.
article from Washington Post. I guess there is a big problem in colleges now as well, where a lot of drug dealers are just lacing weed with fentanyl to just make it more addictive.
Oh, geez.
And it's ending up with overdosing quite a bit. So I guess they are recommended to get fentanyl test strips.
I'm offended by that. I'm offended. Those two drugs should have nothing to do with each other. They shouldn't even be in the same room together. That is just purely on behalf of the cannabis plant. I am super offended by that story there, Infidel Pharaoh. What can
I
we do to
smell
stop this?
I smell a conspiracy, guys. I
Right?
smell a real deep, dark conspiracy on this one. Take a deep whiff. You smell that?
Smells like rot.
It's the elites, the deep secret government controlled and owned by the pharmaceutical companies are lacing our street drugs with deadly fentanyl so that they can corner the market. Clearly. No, but seriously, maybe they are. I don't know. That would freaking suck. I always had this. Wasn't the idea or the plot or the concept of like, something about the Night of the Living Dead, or was it Return of the Living Dead? Wasn't one of these zombie movies the idea that the government was experimenting with spraying marijuana crops with something, right? I think that was Return of the Living Dead, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you might be right. Yeah, it was like one of the older Romero ones.
Yeah. So you never know, because I had also heard a rumor that Romero and holy crap, what was the other guy's name? I used to know these things. When they made that movie, Russo, right? John Russo, I believe, was the other guy. When they made Night of the Living Dead, that it was based on real life stuff that they had when they were in college. They encountered or talked to a guy in the military who said this story. So that idea was supposedly a real idea. So I found that very interesting. But all that aside, isn't it neat? It's really cool, I think, that they, whoever they are, tried to fix the problem by cutting off the Sudafed, and it made things worse. How many times do we see them roll out with a solution to a problem, and lo and behold, it gets worse? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, there is that old saying that today's problems are yesterday's solutions. This whole thing, it's even worse than we think, because we're also talking about 30% of the population, at least 30% of the US population has traumatic brain injury. So if you have traumatic brain injury or an injury to the nervous system and your executive function is already impaired, and your brain is not functioning the way that it should be functioning, you add drugs on top of that, whether it's street drugs or pharmaceutical drugs, and you're only going to increase the injury and deepen the symptoms of that specific injury. So what we really have is a discomfort industrial complex more than anything else.
Interesting. Yeah. And it's building it's in a feedback loop essentially also. Like there's this whole unknown aspect of it, cuz it's like when you read the inserts on some of these pharmaceuticals, it's like they're written in a way where it's like this is your set of information you need to know if you're at a baseline, if this is the only thing you're on. They're not it might say don't mix with alcohol or something like that, but like you read some of these inserts and they're like, they're like a mile long and wide and tiny print on really thin paper. And there's no studies about mixing this drug with that drug. I mean, it's very, very rare that you'll find any good data on mixing drugs, unless there's known adverse reactions that they absolutely know you shouldn't be mixing stuff with. But for the most part, just watch any show on Netflix. Watch any show on Netflix. You will see characters popping Adderall, popping pills, and drinking alcohol. 9 out of 10 times. Almost all of the streaming services have characters like this, and I think that's super dangerous. What do you think about that, Wandering Wolf? The way that this is portrayed in Hollywood shows these days, it's just like alcohol, 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 and pills, 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 and like that combo is extremely dangerous, generally speaking.
Yes, it is dangerous and pernicious. And yeah, my industry is all over sexing that up and making it look cool and edgy and desirable. And you know, we're entering this era where people are being encouraged to identify with their traumas, to identify with their dysfunctions, and to make that into a badge of honor, a lifestyle. You know, what's your dysfunction? What's your malfunction? I mean, that's definitely becoming cool. So yeah, it's extremely dangerous, and it's certainly not accidental. And you know, the attitude that I've encountered on sets, on shows where we're depicting these kinds of things happening is super casual. It's just become the sort of, oh yeah, well, we have to communicate this character is having some emotional problems, so we do that by combining pharmaceutical drugs or street drugs and alcohol in the same scene. I think it's creatively vapid. I think there are so many more interesting ways to communicate that don't have to involve normalizing these dangerous combinations. So you're definitely onto something there, 100%. And quickly, you know, what you were just saying about baseline, how much of the population is actually at a baseline state? Because in order to be at a baseline state, you also have to have your nervous system completely at rest. So if you're having any anxiety, if you're having any depression, if you're having anything that we consider to be mental illness, which is a loaded term, which I think that's a discussion for another time, then you're not at baseline at all. So anything that you consume that's a substance that will have an effect on your neurochemistry is entering your body when you're not at a baseline state.
Yeah, right. That's a big deal. It's a big deal right there. They pretty much assume on all those things that you're at a baseline, but are any of us except like maybe David Goggins at a baseline? I don't know. I don't know.
Dude, I remember reading like 5, 10 years ago that over 50% or like 2/3 of college students are on like SSRIs and shit. So
Mhm.
that's mind boggling. And there's a lot of documentation about how, yeah, it ruins these kids' lives too. You know, in some cases, really terribly, you know.
Mhm.
Maybe not everybody, but I just don't see it's good for you. Even Tylenol and ibuprofen and the shit you buy right over at the counter at the gas station even is like can have, you know, negative side effects on you, like causing health problems in people. And I think it's ibuprofen. There's studies that it messes with people's emotional states, like it dulls their emotional responses and thought processes and such. And like,
Empathy. I believe they mentioned empathy in particular
Oh,
with
that's
okay, yeah.
new to me. And when I was working, I mean, I used to be a waitress, and my last job in California, it was with you know, I was in my 30s, and I was working with like a lot of kids in their 20s, and it was like they were passing out drugs like bubble gum and candy, like just trading off pills, and it didn't matter whether it was like antidepressants or anti-anxiety or pills. It was just like, all right, I'll have 5 pills and trade you for those 3, depending on what they were. And I mean, now I'm like seeing this actually happen with adults. I mean, they were, I guess, adults at the time, but I just never experienced that before. But I see this happening, you know, with people. I see boomers doing this shit now, like where they're like, all right, like how many pain pills can I get or whatever, you know, I need a certain amount of stuff to get through this certain amount of time. And it's a lot of the time it's legal stuff that's being illegally shared.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely
I don't
freaky.
even remember the last time I took an ibuprofen. I stopped taking that shit long time ago.
Yeah, I try to stay away from it too, man.
It seems pretty benign compared to, you know, Vicodin and fentanyl and all these other things.
Right. They're still all hard on your liver though, that's the thing. Like all these things, even the over the counter ones end up being a tax and a strain on the old liver there. All right, let's see. I gotta crush an advertising whack job here. All right, on the YouTube. There you go. You're out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Anyone else want to throw in on this topic? I'm about to move us to something a little different here. Going once, going twice. All right, here we go. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? I'm gonna see if I can't put this on the screen. There we go. Out of dreaded BBC news, BMW introduces new heated seat subscription. That's right. New heated seat subscription in the UK. BMW sparked debate after offering an online subscription to turn on heated front seats in its cars in the UK for £15 a month. A monthly heated steering wheel subscription costs £10 per month. Subscriptions have been available for features on BMW cars for some time in the UK, but the heated seat offer started this month. Okay, so, well, I guess we're getting features as a service. I was kind of just starting to get used to software as a service here in my life, you guys, but now we're looking at hard features as a service. Uh, Corey Drayton, go for it, man. I see you shaking your head there. I know you got something you want to say about this.
Yeah, so this one, I think this one came from our friend Photon. This I've actually been thinking about this one a lot myself because I'm a BMW driver, and it makes me want to hold on to my car with grim death, because all of these features that they're talking about, they come standard in the one that I've got, and my goodness, I mean, the idea that you pay top dollar for something. And then you have to pay extra for features that used to be factory standard is so disgusting and appalling to me. It's just graft of the most deplorable degree. And I think that one of the subtexts here is that they're just trying to disincentivize people from owning cars. I think it's another tack, another angle, another vector of attack that they're using to get people to give up on owning cars, because again, as you know, we and I were talking this morning on TNT about this idea of making renting everything that you use in life into a virtue. So between the vice grip of virtue and the inevitable, it's just another vector to get people to give up on something that they're used to being able to partake in. And I think the interesting thing too is that you have to remember that there is a mindset, having mostly grown up in Europe myself, that driving there is a privilege, whereas in the United States it's considered to be more of a right. So I do wonder if that might cause a shift in public consciousness where people say, hey, wait a minute, don't we have rights to certain things? Don't we have rights to own certain things? And if we own those things, do we not own them free and clear? Do we have to pay extra for the privilege of enjoying those things to their maximum degree? So it's interesting to see how this debate might open up in terms of other things that we use on a daily basis. But yeah, I was disgusted when I first found this, and I am not giving up my car. There's just no way.
Yeah. Someone, let's see here. Someone's made the comment that it may feel like buying a mug and having to rent the handle. Yeah, I totally get it. Subscriptions for software is one thing. No one is going to subscribe for heated seats or whatever. If I own the car, I own everything in it, another commenter said. Um, yeah, I tend to agree. This is the kind of stuff that makes me not want to get any modern, brand newish car ever again. This is just ridiculous. I don't know. Infidel,
Actually,
what do you
I
think, man?
I actually think it's pretty genius.
Well, yeah,
Um,
for the board members, sure.
no, I mean, think about it. Actually, from consumer standpoint, you're going to go and pay like $1,000. I don't know how much heated seat and steering wheel costs in BMW, like at least $1,000, $2,000, and instead you will not paying for this upfront, and I said you're paying like $18 a month, and you can turn it off in the winter. Sorry, in the summer, so you're saving money. So actually, if you think about it, on the life, it depends, right? Is how long are you planning on owning the car too? A lot of people just exchange cars every like 7 years or so. So if you think about it as like, hey, you're paying it in the winter season, which for and multiply that by 18, multiply by like 10 years, you actually might be saving money.
Well,
Then
but you're like giving up like your personal comfort and control to having like a monthly thing. Like, oh, we're just gonna, keep giving you depending on whatever. It's like, I mean,
yeah, no, I mean, I understand. I did that when I subscribed to Spotify and instead of buying CDs. But it's just it's it is the model of the future, I would say. Sadly,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. It is the danger is not just that. This is the reason why I don't want to buy any new car. Is all of them now are just everything is just electronic. You cannot work on a damn new car. You cannot do anything by yourself. You're stuck, and they can shut it at any point of time, too.
and they're profiling you through all these systems as well. It's like,
yeah, and
it's not just,
you know,
it's literally like they are profiling you based on what you adjust on your car system, what you're listening to, what you're doing with your heat or air, what kind of conversations you're having on your communications, your comms, your phone or whatever. It's all profiling you. And
yeah,
then
it's all part of that data collection to customize and sell you more stuff, right? And uses data against you and just get
well,
you
yeah,
to
it's
more
to
consumer.
target you for whatever they want, after they figure out what your profile is to sell you stuff or to gear you to be activated by something, it's just all data collection.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea, and if you think about it in a Tesla, it actually make much more sense. I would have guessed that Tesla would have came up with that before BMW. Actually,
Yeah. They might
given that
have.
everything in this
Oh,
car is
yeah.
electronic. So
yeah.
One thing I want to add real quick though about heated seats, and I found this out. I used to be a devotee of Saabs, so I bought and rebuilt about 4 of them over the course of my life until I switched over to BMW because they're actually a lot more reliable than Saabs. Saabs are always falling apart. But that aside, the reason that heated seats were even added in the first place actually had nothing to do with driver comfort. It was Saab who did it, and the reason they added them was because they found that they were able to reduce instances of road rage and traffic accidents if they installed heated seats at sort of the baseline trim of Saabs. It made people more relaxed when they were driving, and so they were actually able to change driver behavior by making heated seats standard. So that's really kind of the impetus for introducing them in cars in the first place. It didn't have so much to do with driver comfort. So keeping that in mind and looking at what BMW is now implementing, I do wonder about the impact that will have on how people drive and what behavior they're steering people towards. No pun intended. And I don't know if they're even thinking from the design standpoint of that or not. It's just a theory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All
that's
right.
what happens when
So
you toast your nuts.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
calm you down, man.
Toasted nuts. Calm you down while you're driving. Okay, so here's a little extra context. The company says customers can enable all hardware features for a one-time payment if they prefer. The features are available via BMW's Connected Drive online store and are activated remotely with no need to visit a dealer. And the manufacturer told the BBC that were heated seats or any other feature available in the Connected Drive store have been purchased when a customer vehicle is ordered, no subsequent subscription or payment is necessary. Um, so it almost sounds like this is where it gets a little bit weird for me. It's like you're buying the car, like they have to make fewer versions of the car, it sounds like, first of all. So this is something that helps them out because they basically make the top end version, right, with all the bells and whistles, but you don't necessarily buy the car in that format. Like if you don't want all the bells and whistles, if you don't want the heated seats, you don't want the heated steering wheel, you just don't include that in your original order. And then if you change your mind or you want to try it out, you can go online and enable that feature in your car. And then if you like it, you can pay a one-time fee to keep it. So this is a little bit innovative. I can kind of see the draw here and the innovation, but at the same time, it's like you're sitting in the Corvette here, but you're driving you're driving the Camaro, and all you have to do is go online and say, "Oh, I want to upgrade my Camaro to a Corvette." Uh, in this example, and all of a sudden, all the features light up. So it's like you're driving around the super expensive car, but you don't have the super expensive features. I don't know. This is a little bit mind blowing. Chopper, you're a car guy. What do you think about this, man? What's your take on this new format of selling a car that has all the features in it, but you have to unlock them. You have to either pay for them ahead of time to have them arrive unlocked, or you can rent them, see if you want them. I don't know. This whole thing's a little bit weird, man. This is all too futuristic for me.
Well, I think you guys are right. This is a part of it is a predictive programming aspect that you won't own anything, even though you do own that car that has the seat heater in it already. So you got that aspect going. And of course, if they can get more money for it, they're going to go to that. See, and if this works and people fly with this, then you're going to see more and more of it. BMWs, I would say, I don't know since when, but I would venture that for a long time. I don't know. You can go buy a BMW that doesn't have heated seats. I would think that's something that's been around for at least 20 years, is pretty much standard in a BMW. Wandering Wolf probably knows better than me on that. And if there's a way, so you're right too, though, also about how they can just make one version, and then if you don't want that option, then don't buy it. And that's really nothing new either. Dating back a long time, cars would have various power levels, and obviously you're gonna pay more for every package that will like bump your power up. But that might just be like something as simple as a different exhaust or carburetor, or combination of that and other things that really doesn't cost them any more to make, but they're going to charge you for that if you want that. You want to go from 250 to 300 horsepower in your small block or whatever. And obviously I'm referring to carburetors. So they've been a long time. These sorts of things have already been around, but it wasn't a subscription based. They weren't going to auto charge your credit card every month to have that extra power in your Camaro or whatever. But, I think a lot of it is the predictive programming, though, honestly, that get you used to the fact that, yeah, you bought that car and you don't own it. We're having huge fights over right to repair things. People have been hacking John Deere's for years because John Deere will not let somebody service their own $1 million tractor that they bought. So, and there's fights, there's legislation going on regarding that stuff too. I don't really know where it's all at. Scary thing though too, you're right about new cars. EU coming soon right now is that they're gonna start having nanny state controls to where you can't go over the speed limit. Mm-hmm. So talk about making one model to sell to everyone. I guarantee you that's gonna be right into our market soon here too. And whether they legislate it or not, even.
I don't like the sound of that one. I know Infidel doesn't either. Me and Infidel, Wandering Wolf, Chopper, I think pretty much everyone on the call likes to drive fast.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and especially would like to be free to drive how I want. Damn, come on, now you're gonna. Wow. So the thought that they could do that anyway, so they can do that now. So this is here. This is now. This is happening. I think it's 2023 models. So which are going to be rolling to dealers soon. And so you can't buy a car that you have full control over anymore in the EU. At least not a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to start, and that's what they want is like we knew that with the rollout of 5G, there is a lot more connectivity. It's going to be in everything pretty soon. So I think they are trying to get people to get used to that idea. I don't think it's any conspiracy theory. It's just money, right? This is they want to make money. It's at the end of the day, it's money driven. But this is where it's going with this IoT and 5G connectivity. It's just really like everything is going to be connective, and that subscription model or software as a service or hardware as a service, as we're seeing it right now, I think that's gonna get more and more. You will see that actually people will get attracted to it because again, it has merits from consumer standpoint because you're not eating that whole cost up front. You can turn off and on as you need it. And I'm sure the prices are going to be driving up right now, and maybe that's a way for them to offset some of those costs of inflation as well, right? And instead of getting you to absorb it all at once, they're just gonna get you to pay it gradually as you go. So there'll be different models, interesting models we're going to see. But that inflation is not just here in the US, it's everywhere. So I think all consumers around the world are going to see it pretty soon in everything. And I don't know how people can afford buying things.
Yeah, yeah. And BMWs are made in Germany, right? That's a German car.
Yeah,
And
so it's probably going to go out of business pretty soon.
Oh, Germany's having
Especially
big
with gas.
problems right now when it comes to
Yeah.
fuel and power and gas and all that.
What about the safety aspect of driving and not have the ability to accelerate around some bullshit if you need to?
Thank you.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, for as far as the whole speed limit thing goes, I mean, sometimes it's handy to be able to drop the hammer a little bit and get away from some BS.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I've accelerated out of as many potential accidents as I have braked or swerved away from potential accidents. It's an important factor. in my book.
Absolutely. So why should we not be able to have that choice when we're driving? If you need to use whichever pedal you need to avoid a situation, that's the one you should be using.
That's why I enjoy
Because,
driving my
Chopper.
stick, my friend.
Because you'll own nothing. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You'll be happy with owning nothing, Chopper.
No,
Maybe.
I don't think I will be. I don't think so, Klaus.
Maybe you can rent a couple extra ponies to enable inside the hood there when the crucial moment comes on.
Well, oh yeah, there you go. Maybe
National
it could be so
ponies.
kind like Elon when there was the hurricanes in Florida. He had a virtue signal how he's going to unlock everyone's extra range in their Tesla, whether they paid for it or not, because that's how those things work too. They don't change
what's
the
the extra
battery.
range
It's
in
just different
Tesla?
software for different ranges, and you got to pay for it when you buy the
Oh,
thing.
interesting.
Uh-huh.
So you're saying that the battery capacity is the same?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. It's a software difference for how far you can drain it down, I guess, before you got to recharge it.
Lame. That's
I
so
still
lame.
enjoyed. I'm not going to go away from my stick, man.
Yeah, me neither. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna get.
enjoy it.
I'm not gonna get a Tesla. I'm sorry. A car that has. If your Tesla breaks down on the side of the road, you can't tell the tow truck driver to take me to AutoZone because I need this widget that goes in here. But you know why? Because AutoZone doesn't carry a single freaking part for that car. It is completely proprietary.
They also
also-
have no dealers, so I don't know who's servicing these things. Are people just going to throw them away or what? I mean, I'm sure there's guys doing stuff on their, entrepreneurial style, but they literally have no network for parts or service that I know of.
Yeah. You can't do
The
it.
question is, like, imagine that people just all of a sudden, 10% of the population decided to buy Teslas. And then everybody is driving on the highway and there is not enough charging stations and we run out of batteries.
Hmm.
How's it going to end?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
you're stuck in like freaking like LA traffic or like it's city traffic. Like,
Right.
and your just batteries just drained.
Yeah, you got to turn your AC off and stuck in Phoenix traffic because otherwise your drip battery will die and you'll be stuck there.
You can't have your AC, man.
Yeah,
Well-
because that's the real goal of all this is to really, because you guys aren't, you're right. Hesh, you
told
own
you,
nothing
it's
and you'll be
privilege.
happy.
Having
that's
an AC, you're killing the. I rather charge my electric cars than you getting your damn AC on, shopper. Got you sweat your ass there in Nevada. Just let me enjoy my electric car to save the planet. I need to charge my car. Don't overload the grid with your AC.
Right.
I should
Well-
have great social credit though then, because for years and years I drove cars that had neither heaters or AC, much less heated seats.
I'm sorry, Chopper. There's no electronic record of these virtuous actions of yours. We're not doing any sort of retroactive
start from
carbon
scratch.
crediting.
I don't get pre-credit my carbon credits. That's
No
bullshit.
retroactive carbon credits. I'm sorry, man. We just don't have databases dating back that far. You can't. prove it.
Read Darba.
Ruckus, what do you think, man? You'll rent everything and you'll be happy. You'll rent every feature in your car and be happy.
That's right. Actually, believe it or not, I was the one that brought up this story. I think I was talking to Photon about this. I think we had a mini discussion about this off air. But I think you guys have all touched upon all the points that I was going to make, but I'm going to put them all together because there's definitely a forest here. This is about the Internet of Things. This is about the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This is about what Chopper just mentioned there about the social credits. Because today it's about money. Like you got to pay for the subscription service to get X, Y, Z. Tomorrow it's about you have to behave and do X, Y, Z in order to get LMNOP because of your carbon footprint or your good social credit score and all this stuff. And they're able to now cut you off because before, what could they do? Are they going to come and say, well, we're going to come and pull you over, sir, and rip out your air conditioner? No, but with the flip of a button, they can make your air conditioner stop working. Like your smart meters on your homes, you know, and your Wi-Fi services to all of your connected devices in your homes and the Internet of Things that Infidel was mentioning. So, yeah, this is all heading down to, you know, where we all know we're going. By the way, I don't think, I don't know. I hate to fact check you guys about the owning nothing and being happy part, but everybody keeps using this, okay? Klaus Schwab didn't say that. Where that comes from, and it's just as important, but the thing is, it's one of these things that are put out there early and everyone latches onto it and keeps repeating it, but it could be something where they could say, well, fact check, Klaus didn't say that. Well, they're correct. What it was during one of their get-togethers, they took surveys. They did like a poll of all the people that were gathered there. And based on the things that the people said, they kind of made like these little taglines based on it. So one of them was, you will own nothing and be happy is kind of like the headline. And then it said the explanation for why they were saying that. And it was just like a generalized thing. It wasn't one person got up there and said that. But we've latched onto that, and I think that's fine. But as long as people understand that, he didn't really say that specifically, but obviously he stands for that kind of idea. But that's where these think tank people get together and they agree about like where they think, supposedly where they think the future is going. But it's more than that. It's like, what can we do to get us there? You know. If it was the other way around, what's wrong with that? But no, they're actually literally steering us and seeing what we can do, you know. And he did literally, you know, say about the Great Reset thing. So,
well, there was hold on now, Ruckus. Yeah,
I saw that in a video, one of their promotion videos, Ruckus, for World Economic Forum, like 2030 agenda. So it wasn't just a blurb.
So it wasn't Klaus Schwab, but they literally had that you'll own nothing and be happy. And the first place I ever saw it, actually heard it, was some like Swedish or other Northern European politician going on about this and basically describing the future that they're sitting there, yes, planning to happen, not just waiting for it. And she explains the whole thing of you won't own your pad, you won't own shit, you don't need a drill, you just call the man to rent one and he comes and hangs the picture for you, and while you're at work somebody else is having lunch in a meeting in your living room and kitchen, and et cetera, and it's all going to be so wonderful and sustainable, and we're going to save all these resources. And I want to even say it was probably covered on Boiler Room. that so maybe it was a Tristan stream, maybe it was Tristan on Boiler Room, but that's the politician video, and that was years ago.
It's the there's the 8 predictions for the world in 2030 that was put out by World Economic Forum back in 2020. And I do have that up over here, but I don't want to get into playing a clip I haven't listened to in a while. Maybe we'll throw that up in the second part of the show here. But yeah, that's a point well taken, Ruckus, because what that leads to is the Snopes of the world and the fact checkers saying, well, that's mostly false, right? So they can just put the mostly false label on it, even though it is essentially very true and does represent the aims or the 8 predictions. You'll own nothing.
I love Snopes. I love what they do there with the, like, is the glass half empty or half full? Because it's like their final prediction or result is, if it's mostly false, they're leaving you with the impression of the false part. But they could also take it and say, well, that's partly true if they wanted to, but then that would lean it towards that. It's so insidious and so easy and obvious. It's silly to me. But what do you want from how many cats does that lady own? Oh, sorry.
Oh, the ex-hooker that works there with the cat lady. Right. All right. Well, hey, BMW drivers, let us know how this works. I want to hear from the drivers of newish BMWs in the UK. They say you can add Driving Assistant Plus. Supports you on your journey by automatically maintaining your desired speed and all that stuff. I remember when that was cruise control. On my car, that's a little cruise control clicker. I can put it in 6th gear and set it for 110 miles an hour and turn my cruise control on. So I don't know why someone would be paying 35 pounds a month for that.
I lost respect to BMW actually once. When did they start formatting their different series? That was like maybe 7 years ago. And all this like shuffling, introducing the 4th series. I used to have like a 335, it was a sweet car. And then it was like 2012. And then after that, just BMW just started going to hell. So.
I couldn't agree more. As a devotee of the brand, I mean, I still stick with the old one. I've got my my old 03 E46, and I'm over the moon with it. Love it to death. I can still mostly work on it myself, so that's nothing but a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, man. There was a Apex in a lot of models right there in the early 2000s, I think, early to mid 2000s. It was like things really hit a good place, and then everybody started redesigning everything. They just had to scrap all these designs that they had been working on for years and years and years, start over from the ground up, so that they can be carbon neutral and or have all these advanced computers and sensors in them. I'm not a fan of all these computers and sensors. I like stripping out as much of that stuff as possible. And yeah, you just don't really have that option with newer cars.
Just a fact, like, do you guys know who actually came up with the whole carbon footprint propaganda?
Tell us.
It's British Petroleum, BP.
BP.
Actually, they did it after the oil spill, as a PR campaign, and they ended up making like billions out of it with all the programs that they are pushing. So it's actually that whole carbon footprint crap is actually produced by oil companies.
Oh, of course.
Really interesting.
Oh, well, they're behind the green movement. That makes sense. I mean, because they fund a lot of these green movement type things too. So I'm
Yeah.
not surprised. I didn't know that, but that's not really surprising in a way either. That's very interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, you guys, what do you think? Anybody got anything else they want to throw out there on this segment? I'm about ready to go to intermission here if you guys are. How's everybody doing?
I want to go to
Oh.
the dark side, the second half.
We'll do that. We're going to go to the dark side in the second half here.
Well, hello there, infidel. What's up? I can't wait to hear about this, man. All right, I'm intrigued. Let's do this. Let's go to
All
break.
right.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Only thing I wanted to add was imagine a world where you rent your own choices.
Oh, so much for rent to own. Just rent to rent. Rent to rent space in your head. All right, everybody. We're going to cut this stream here for the video stream. So if you're out there on YouTube, be sure and hit the Rockfin link. I tell you what, I'm going to drop the Rockfin link in the YouTube chat before I close out here. So people can come find us. We're going to take 10. We're going to take 10 or so. We're going to take whatever we need. And we'll be right back. But for the second half of the show, we're going to roll it over at Rockfin. So if you're listening on Spreaker, no problem, no problem. Just keep it on, keep it listening. You won't have to rebounce or anything like that. And if you're out there on YouTube, boom, there's the link to the Boiler Room Rockfin channel in the live stream chat over there on YouTube. This is the Boiler Room. I'm Hesher. I'm joined by Infidel Pharaoh. I'm joined by Ruckus. I'm joined by Corey Drayton. I'm joined by Chopper and the lovely Spore tonight for this August 4th Boiler Room. And we're going to take a quick intermission here in the show. And if you're watching on YouTube, well, be sure and join us over on Rockfin for the second half. You find the second half of all the Boiler Rooms over there. And of course, on our website at alternatecurrentradio.com. That's the spot right there for all things Boiler Room. And all you guys in the call here, stand by for a new StreamYard link after we take 5 or 10 here. So everybody, smoke them if you got them. We'll see you on the other side of a quick break.
The explosion. The attack. The explosion. The attack. I'm